Okay. So, just want to make sure this is recording. Yeah, we should be good.
Get ready. Here come the bad guys.
Yeah, we should be good. Okay, perfect. It's good. Okay, so I just want to go through this really quick. Also, just want to point out for those of you who are listening. So again, this is I'm gonna do these from time to time where I make videos for. I mean, and these aren't really like video. These are just kind of like I don't know, quick videos, whatever. Anyway, basically, the point of this is to kind of sort of just help strategists with understanding things better with their roles and yada yada yada. And this is primarily going to be made only these videos are going to be like, or these links should only be hopefully for the strategist, channel subreddit, right? So anyway, let's. I want to start by saying that if you're trying to get better at strategists, I would highly recommend and I'll probably put a link to this maybe in the Reddit post I'm going to make on this. But I have a link. It's called the Ultimate Learning Playlist. It's comprised of videos from people who do educational content, support player, that I watch streamer KG, educational content like Poppin, and then Death and Gaming stuff like that. And if you follow that playlist, if you're I like if you're sub, I'm gonna say this right now. If you are sub top 0.5%, I would say, and you watch you watch all the videos on that playlist, you will go from whatever percentage you are, whether you're bronze 3, whether you're like grandmaster, diamond, plat, doesn't matter. You will likely grow in terms of skill and understanding of the game from whatever rank you are to like top 0.5%, and probably like maybe I'm gonna say in like 2 seasons at the longest period of time, 2 seasons. Um, and the reason for that is solely because a lot of this stuff is just execution and understanding what to do. So anyway, let's get to triple support, right? Okay, so how do you as a strategist stop triple support? Okay, so the first thing you need to understand about triple support is the weaknesses. Okay, if you have 3 healers on one team, what is gonna happen is how do healers build ult charge? They build ult charge by healing their teammates, healing themselves, in the case of ones that can heal themselves or, get self recovery, like cloaking her bubble, Invis walking her shield, yada, 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 Rocket shooting himself, you get what I'm saying. And also doing damage, okay? But primarily supports build or ult charge very quickly by healing. Okay, so imagine you have, let's say, 200 HP to heal, right? And you have 2 supports. They're both going to heal around 100 HP each, maybe. And they're both going to build their ult, like, kind of like, we'll say, half as fast. They're not half as fast, but we'll say they'll build their ult at 100 HP healed per second. Or 100 HP healed each is how fast they're going to build their ult, okay? So, if let's say it takes 1,000 HP to build your ult to full, all right? So let's say one support heals 100, the other support over here heals 100, okay? Well, you have to do that 10 times to hit 1,000, okay? Cool. Now, in the case of triple support, right, especially in the case of triple support in terms of we're not playing, but there are a couple exceptions, which I'll get into, but I'll just say it real fast. The kind of exceptions are the ones that kind of do a little primarily more damage. So there's going to be Jeff, Ultron, and Mantis, which have their own drawbacks themselves. And honestly, these characters should not be problems until you get to like very high, like top 1% and higher, because most people can't utilize them worth a damn. Okay, so it's not probably going to be relevant in your games. They're going to be incredibly weak if people pick them, so it's not going to matter because they're not going to be able to maximize the damage portion. But anyway, if you had 200 HP to heal, right, and you divide that by 3 people healing, now each person's only healing 66. Okay, so that means for that person 66, right? We'll just say 67 to keep it simple, right? 67. So 1,000 divided by 67, it's gonna take them like we'll say 15 like heal attempts, we'll say, or 15 times healing somebody, right, to get their ult. Whereas comparatively, if you had the other support, like the dual support comp, right, it's just gonna take them 10 times. So they're going to get their ults. The duos are going to get their ults 1.5 times faster than the opponent. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that the duos, number one, are going to get their ults first, right? So the first thing you need to understand about when you're playing against triple support is if you have two, like let's say you have Cloak and fucking Sue or whatever, when you guys get your ults at the beginning, go ham, make a play, dive deep, go do whatever the fuck you do. Or, you know, if you're invis, you know, and you're walking up to, let's say, like the fucking point or whatever, you know, obviously don't double jump in because you might die to Magneto and some shit like that. But like, if you need to run in as soon as possible and start the fight, because you need to get this going, because your ults, like let's say, because your ults are going to be built up before theirs. So you're going to have the advantage of first ult is always going to be way before theirs. So your ult, get that out, get what advantage you can. Maybe you can either wipe somebody, kill somebody, take point, whatever it is, get pressure, yada, yada, yada. But you need to ult aggressively first when you're playing triple versus triple support. This is first, okay? This is the first one. After the first one, it gets a little tricky, okay? But the first one, you need to ult aggressively because you're going to get your ults before theirs. So this means that when you do this, right, it's likely going to be somebody's going to die on their team if you do it correctly. Or you're going to get like a point or a pressure or a corner or whatever the fuck you want to call it, okay? And then your second support is likely going to get theirs also around the same time as you. So as soon as you finish yours, they, let's say Luna or whatever, can immediately ult following, right? And then it's like, yay, we ult, we take point. Now, right at the end of this Luna ult or Cloak ult or whatever your fucking second ult was, likely they're gonna start getting their support ults, and likely that's when you're gonna start having some issues. But you're gonna get the first point pretty damn simple, okay? The second thing that comes to triple support, and I need to very important, the reason why triple support is so effective is because it minimizes and it has less of a window to be punished for error, right? And what I mean by that is, if you have 3 people on support, let's say you pulled somebody off DPS who was sucking it up, right? Or tank who was feeding or yada, 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 and you put them on triple support, okay? They can do this, right? They can do this. And as long as they can do this, you're going to contribute. Now, granted, what if you're getting dove? What if you're dealing with stuff that like is actual skill checks? Well, again, because you have 3 healers, these skill checks that you usually would be dealing with become a lot easier because you guys can just heal each other through it, and it gets a lot easier to deal with, okay? So that's why people go triple support or utilize it. What the hell is that on the ground? Anyway, so we got through the first ult. Let's go on to the following ults. How do you deal with triple support? Okay, this is very important, and it's going to be very controversial. Number 1, if you are playing versus triple support and you really want to win, you really need to be on the mic. Why is that? Because when you're versus triple support, you cannot do this. I'm going to show you what this is. This happens in games all the time. Let's say I'm playing Cloak, right? And I do this. Let's say I get ult first, or let's say that we're at a neutral point and I get ult, right? And I want to make a play on Cloak. This cannot happen. And you'll see what I mean by this, okay? So pretend Cloak ults and the field is down, everybody's chilling. It's great. Hold on. While this field is down, this cannot happen.
Mutants must protect mutants, but also all of humanity.
And if you know what this is, okay? If you know what this is, then it's going to be very simple for you to kind of... If you don't know what this is, that's fine. I'll go through it right now. All right, so what this is called staggering, or rather not staggering. This is called overlaying your ultimates. Why is this really fucking bad? Because imagine this like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or any card game I've ever played or something like that, right? Every action demands a reaction. If I do this on Cloak, if I ult into their team and go crazy and I'm like, all right, Cloak ult is down, I'm doing damage, I'm killing them, yada, 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 they have to respond to this ult. And how are they going to respond to this ult? They can respond to this ult with a Magneto ult, right? They could respond to this ult with their own support ult. Let's say I'm the enemy Sue, and Cloak just ulted. Well, I have to do this so that this immortality field that Cloak has put down doesn't just kill my whole team, right? So this is what is generally going to happen, or the team's going to just die. What cannot happen is Cloak ults, and then you do this, which I will fucking just, if I could fucking find it again. It's so hard. Finding the stupid desk character is so hard. Like, let's say my cloak ults and I'm playing Star-Lord. You cannot do this. And this happens way too fucking often. Way too fucking often. This is called overlaying. And this is what triple support punishes very fucking hard. Okay? You cannot overlay a DPS ult and a support ult versus triple support. You shouldn't do it in general, but you cannot do it versus triple support. You cannot overlay, okay, a DPS ult and a tank ult versus triple support, right? So if Cloak ults, that's it. Cloak ults, we wait. We see how they respond. Usually the triple support is going to be forced to use one of their ults in response to it, okay? That is how that's going to go. But if Cloak ults, right, and at the same exact time that Cloak ults, Emma says, oh, her dirt, I'm immortal now. Sue is going to ult at the same exact time, and she's going to trade her one immortality ult for a tank ult and for Cloak ult. And now you guys are going to be down the 8 ball because you're going to be down, you only have 4 ults left to play with if everybody has their ults, and they're going to have 5. And they're going to and 2 of those are going to be support ults, which means you're cooked, right? The way to beat triple support is by using the advantage that you get from not playing triple support. And what that is you will always generate your individual ults faster than the triple support people because they don't have the ability to generate it as fast. Which means all you have to do is recognize that simple fact and just stagger your ults. So look, this is how it would go. Watch. Emma ults. Let's say it's 6v6, everybody has their ult. Watch this. Or let's want to say everybody has their ult. We'll just say your team got their ults slightly faster than me team, right? Because they're playing triple support. Okay? Emma gets hers first. She says, guys, I'm ulting. Okay. Emma's going to try to target their supports. Likely, she's not going to be able to get them, right? Somebody's going to heal somebody, whatever. And there's Sue is going to counter that. And Sue is going to be like, oh, I have ult. I just got ult. And she's going to be like, disappear! Woohoo! Okay. Disappear is now on the field, right? You need to wait this out. Wait this out if you can. Or if you can't wait this out, let this burn down as much as you can without your team dying. So let's say it gets to like 3 seconds, right? Or 2 seconds and you're playing Sue. Then you can counter and do it inside of it. Now, second thing versus triple support. Do fucking not instantly counter if you can avoid it. Stagger your ult so that you can get a domino overlay at the end, which means that if you pop 2 invis ults at the same time, right, they're both going to leave at the same time. But if you pop 1 invis ult and you wait like 2 or 3 seconds and your team almost dies, but then you pop your invis ult, yours is going to last 3 seconds longer at the end and give you a window in which you guys can push them back or kill them, right? So the way that you beat triple support is by effectively managing and staggering your ults. Because if you have a support ult on your team, it's going to force out a support ult on their team. If you have a team wipe ult and a team wipe ult, these are your team wipe ults. Emma Frost is a team wipe ult, an ult that forces a response from support so people want to survive. Unless people can hide behind cover, which is, you can outplay that. Angela is a team wipe ult that can force out a support ult. You need to, if you throw Angela out, you might get out a support ult. Another one. I'm just gonna go through these. I'm not gonna pay all these. All right. Cloak forces out a support ult. Luna can force out a support ult. This can force out a support ult. Ultron can force out a support ult. Strange can force out a support ult. Groot can force out a support ult. This cannot. He will just kill people in it. Do not. You're just cooked on this. This cannot force out a support ult. This cannot, because this lands, somebody's dying regardless. This can force out a support ult. This can force out a support ult if you don't get hit by it. We're talking ults, by the way. This cannot, because if you're standing in her ult, you're probably just dead anyway. This can force out a support ult. This can force out a support ult. This cannot. Why? Because if you support over this, and you get hit by this, you die anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter. This cannot force out a support ult, because number 1, he probably should be bad, but number 2, also, his shit's so quick, you're fucking dead anyway. His ult is very, This forces out a support ult. This does not, because you should probably be behind a wall or not. Actually, you know what? He can force out a support ult. And when I say force out, I mean, that when you use it, the enemy support, it's not a bad idea for them to use it as well. So this he can do it. I'd say lesser to everybody else I've already went through, but he can. This does not force out a support ult. Why? Because if you were standing in a support ult and you eat multiple squirrel ults, you're dead anyway. This cannot force out a support ult. Why? Well, I mean, it can, but it's just awkward. The reason why is because if you stand in this anyway and you ult, you still die. This can force out a support ult, but no, it can. You just need to be very careful. When this bitch does Darkchild and is using her shit, she can kill you in your support ult. This can force out a support ult. This cannot. Why? Because this is a one-shot, okay? This can force out a support ult. This cannot. Why? Well, I mean, it can if you don't... Hold on. That's my Apple Watch. This can, but usually it won't. Because if you get hit with this, you're just dead, usually. Because you're going to be on the ground, you're not going to heal, you're going to die. This forces out a support ult. This can force out a support ult, but people can really just heal through it. But most people do just use a support ult in this. This can, but he's kind of like Hawkeye level. This can, but you really shouldn't be getting hit by this guy. You need to position better if this is a problem. This forces out a support ult. Because if you're not on comms, both support's not on comms, you're likely not patty caking through this. So you're probably gonna die. So this forces out a support ult. This can force out a support ult, but it's questionable. But it can. This can. This is a weird one because certain ults, I think this one can actually even kill through, kind of, sort of, depending on where they are. But this one kind of can. This one forces out a support ult. Really gotta be careful. He can actually kill you through it. This can force out a support ult. This never should. If you see a blade ult and you ult behind directly in counter of it, you're trolling because this guy has anti-heal. So this is not the best idea you kind of just need to step out of the way of him. It's not that hard. This forces out a support ult. This forces out a support ult. Hold on, shit, I made that. Whatever, it doesn't matter. This forces out a support ult. This forces out a support ult. Blah, 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 blah. This does not because this is not a ult that, like, you have cause of concern for. This does not force out a support ult. This does. Okay, so I went through all of them to make it very, very simple. All right, so that's so to go through this one more time. The first thing to keep in mind, you're gonna get your ult first when you're playing duo and they're playing triple. Okay, you're always gonna get your ults first over them. The second thing, DPS, tanks, anybody with the ability to force out a response, like to demand support ults to like counter them if they want to like survive and shit like that. They need to use their ults proactively, which means that soon as, let's say I'm playing Angela, right? As soon as I get my ult on versus triple support, I gotta go. Because I need to utilize the window at which I get mine 1.5 times faster than the enemy team, basically. Because if I don't, and I just sit here, and I get scared, and I don't ult, then guess what? They're always gonna have their 3 support ults, and we're never gonna get anything done. But if I am Angela, like I said, and I get mine faster, let's say I get mine at 5 minutes, and they're going to get theirs at 4:30. 30-second window, kill everybody. Problem solved. Okay? That is how you beat triple support from just staggering your ults. Right? It's very, very, very... Second thing, be careful if you're playing dive in a triple support, because they can just heal through it, right? So obviously be question yourself on the dive characters. And lastly but not least, you cannot, like I said, I already said before, but I'm just repeating again, you cannot overlay your ultimates. You cannot Heaven Falls and force out a support ult, and at the same time that you go legendary and try to force out a support ult, because you're just sinking 2 ults into 1 and wasting your time and giving them all the advantage in the world. I feel like that's pretty much everything I need to call out for that, so I'm probably gonna end the video here. Again, if you want more details on this, like I said, on the playlist that I'll post, Popping Off, and there's a whole video on that in my Ultimate Learning playlist compilation. Just take a look at that, and you'll learn everything you need to learn. Also, I'm gonna put this on here because I'm obviously gonna make a picture posting this later, but just a heads up, if you're playing support, right, this is in your own console, you need to, and also PC, right, change your settings, guys. If your settings are not comfortable, especially on PC, because, like, console players, our ping button was some obnoxious, like, D-pad shit, right? And the D-pad shit makes it so that, like, let's say you're doing this, you have to move your hand to press pings usually, right? To press the ping somebody attacking you, yada, yada, yada. You have to take your hand off the movement button to press it, which means that if you're getting dove, you're just going to die. Because people don't typically ping. That's why people don't ping a lot on consoles, too. It's because their key bindings are jacked, or their default key bindings are jacked. So what I've done, right, is I've effectively fixed this. This is a cloak tech. If you notice it, whatever. If not, I have a post on the Cloak and Dagger mains. I'm not getting into it with the Isin thing. Anyway, so here, look. This is how I ping.
Track this enemy.
Very easy. Ping. My ping is on square, right? So it makes it very
Enemy
easy.
tagged.
Then you might say, well, what's your reload? My reload? Hold on. It's triangle. There you go. And then you can say, well, what about if I had a team up on triangle? Okay, then put something on O. Not unless you have like specific setup. No character uses O. I use O because I found that nobody uses O. So O is very effective for me to use O. So I use O for specific things on certain characters, like Sue.
After all these years,
Her shield.
saving the
You can
world
recall. You
still
can't
has
recall
a
her
limit.
shield. You recall her shield with like O or a circle, whatever you want to call it. Right. So I put circle. Circle brings it down. Okay. So just gonna show you the key bindings real quick so you have an idea of what they look like. Controller, combat. Actually, it's fucking. It should be down here, right? Yeah, it is. Right. Okay.
mean business.
Right. Okay. Whatever. That's the wrong one. Communication, ping button, square. Save your life. Just put it on square, guys. Trust me. I know reloads on square. Find something else for reload. I recommend triangle. You'll thank me later. Need healing. This is the most important thing you can have as tank, DPS, and healer. Because when people say, oh my god, my co-support will never heal me, sometimes your co-support literally can't see you. And in the midst of a fight, your co-support can't always turn around and figure out where you are. But if you can just do this,
Care to share some health?
it lets them know where you are, lets them know you need healing, and it's like a soft ping. And they know, oh shit, I need to help my co-support because they're begging for help. They're dying. All right, so I'm gonna end the video here. I feel like I've kind of covered most of how to beat triple support. Because like I said, I don't find triple support hard to deal with. The issue with triple support is not dealing. The issue is in solo queue, DPS players and support players don't know what not overlaying your ults mean. Like I said, if you
Is
hear
a great gift. It must be used
"Feel the
wisely.
wrath of the goddess,"
The wrath of the goddess!
They couldn't weather
do
the
not
storm.
Double kill!
use your Cloak and Dagger ult as on the same team as the Storm at the same exact time. Side note, if you hear this also,
Feel the wrath of the goddess!
don't us against the world the instant you hear that call out. Wait for the indicator beneath you so that you don't like waste part of your ult and bait it, let Storm bait it out for free. Okay, so I'm gonna end the video here. Hope that helps. I'm gonna post this probably on Reddit now. Yeah, that should be that.